Hey everyone, and welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Ashley Mova, and this is the daily show where we give you all of the latest news from the world of movies, plus a little bit of insight into what it all means. Joining us, as always, is AMC Movie News Editor-in-Chief, John Campea.
Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, coming to you from right here at the AMC Movie News headquarters in Burbank, California, and we are so glad you decided to make us part of your day.
Also here, writer-director John Schnepp.
Trailers. Hey,
You think I'm kidding? He's been singing that all morning.
Also here, AMC's Christian Harloff.
I'm going to start something new. Hashtag blame Bay.
As all of you know, the new Star Wars The Force Awakens hits AMC theaters on December 18th. The question is, how big of an opening will it have? According to new reports from analysts, the new Star Wars film could break the worldwide opening weekend box office record. The current record is held by the final Harry Potter movie, which made $483 million on its opening weekend worldwide, and now analysts are suggesting that the new Star Wars could exceed $500 million. They also suggest that if Star Wars is really good, it could cross the $2 billion mark before it finishes its run. John, what do you think about these predictions?
Okay, so here's the thing. Keep in mind, too, we're talking about worldwide opening box office. A lot will depend on opening days, how many theaters it opens, how many markets it opens in at the same time. So a lot of people will ask us, when you guys talk about opening weekend box office numbers, why do you only talk about domestic? Because a lot of movies, the majority of movies, don't open everywhere at the same time. So if one movie opens in 48 countries on its opening weekend and one movie opens in 7 countries in its opening weekend, then you're comparing apples to oranges, so we only focus on the domestic numbers. So now we're talking about worldwide. Here's the thing. I have been saying sensibly for the longest time now that what will be the biggest box office hit of 2015? And clearly it's going to be Avengers Age of Ultron. From everything that I saw up to that point, I mean, that's just what the facts point to. However, if you are going to be open-minded and objective, if new information comes along, you got to take it and you got to reevaluate where you're at. I saw the new Star Wars trailer. We're not going to go all into the new Star Wars trailer again, but I am going to say this. I know what that trailer made me feel. Something that the first trailer did not make me feel, and something that I have not felt, and even I've given up hope of feeling again in a very, very...
You mean you have a new hope?
Felt in a long time. That trailer changed something in me on a spiritual level. It changed something. And then you see the reaction that it got around the world. Look, I've been saying forever that Avengers 2 is going to make the most money this year. But just because you think something's based on one set of information, if new information comes along, you've got to be willing to reevaluate your position. I'm reevaluating my position. I'm not going to say that Star Wars is going to be the new, is going to win the box office at this point. Not yet. But I am ceasing insisting that Avengers 2 will. Just because of what we saw. It's going to be interesting to see what comes along. That opening weekend number, I think that's attainable. Remember, opening weekend doesn't mean everything. Avatar, for heaven's sakes, which made $2.8 billion worldwide, it only made $77 million on its opening weekend. Only $77 million. But it's not like it made Avengers number of $200 million, right? So we'll see how that goes. That opening weekend number is not as important as that final number. I still don't think Star Wars, I agree with the analysts. I think if it's really, really good, it'll cross that 2 billion mark. I don't think it'll catch Avatar at 2.8 billion, but you never know at this point. But everything that the analysts are saying, I'm sure the people at Disney are very happy, but it all depends on that one quotation phrase that was in that report. If it's really good. Star Wars is going to have a great opening weekend no matter what, but we got to see if it's any good that's going to make people want to go back and tell other people to go out and check it out, people who might be on the fence. Look, all things look really good, but JJ did make Super 8, and Super 8 was not a good film. He made the Star Trek movies, which were really great. He made that Mission Impossible film, which he did a magnificent job on. He's got a great track record on television. I have a lot of faith in J.J. Abrams, but it's not a perfect track record, so I'm not jumping up and down. But you got to step back and say, man, it's possible. Anyway, Schnepp, what do you think?
Yeah, I think just that quote, Chewie, we're home, like resonated with so many people for a lot of reasons, because we grew up watching Star Wars. And then a lot of kids grew up watching the new set of prequels that a lot of us didn't like as much. But this felt like the perfect synthesis. So if they can ride that wave of like doing a really great Star Wars movie that satisfies us and all the new people, that's more than $2 billion. And it feels like just from seeing the little what do you call it? The teaser
trailer 2.
Yeah, the teaser trailer 2 and the first teaser, they had all those elements that really wreck you emotionally because they played that John Williams music. It had the flavor of Star Wars, but with all these new elements that you wanted. You want new elements in this new universe that is 30 years later, yet it's got Han Solo, it's got Luke, it's got Princess Leia, and it's probably got Darth Vader. Who knows? I mean, it seems to me like after seeing that trailer, I would agree with you that it has the chance to beat any film coming out this year, as long as it's good.
The quick sideways. Somebody sent me this great graphic today of the classic Darth Vader from Return of the Jedi and the melted helmet that you see in the new trailer, and underneath it just says meth. Anyway, Christian.
Well, what I can say is, welcome to the light side. Welcome to the light side. Yeah, and look, I've been saying the Star Wars, as far as a movie, was going to be the biggest movie of the year. And completely honestly, it's not just because I'm a diehard fan. It really isn't. It's just because it seems to make sense. And it absolutely is going as far as the mega numbers, if it's really good. That's what's going to count. Because don't forget that this trailer, in all forms, whether it be iTunes or YouTube or whatever, it has... Pablo Hidalgo came out and said that within 24 hours, 88 million views within all the platforms. Wow. 88 million. That means that what you were feeling, what I was feeling, that many people were feeling that. And you don't get that from movies often. I think Alicia said it the other day on the show. Avengers is going to be huge. Avengers might still have the biggest opening weekend of the summer. I wouldn't be surprised. And I'm just talking about domestic here. But it's also because of where it places as well, too. And I think December might push back the opening weekend numbers for Star Wars, but because, and I've said this a million times, for the fact that it is in December and it's going to have no competition in December, no competition in January, and no competition in February, if it is a beast in quality, you're going to keep going back. You know we're going to see it 10, 15 times
At least.
And in regards,
I saw Phantom Menace 18 times in theaters.
Exactly.
That sucked.
And we're going to be going. And the fact, and you have, and in regards to your comment, John, with J.J. Abrams, I agree. I didn't love Super 8 also, but what J.J. didn't have, he didn't have the team of Lucasfilm. He didn't have, like, listening to those guys on the stage, and not even just JJ, Kathleen Kennedy, and that panel, but when you, Kiri Hart and Pablo Hidalgo and Leland Chee and all those guys, they have such a vision. Remember when Lucas was running it, when if they had suggestions and Lucas was like, no, I don't want to do that. They were, okay, that was it. They're all running it together. It's a collective collaboration over there now. The story knows what they're doing. JJ trusts in the story team, and there's so much greatness going on. It's the first time it's all run by fans. They're all hardcore fans. They're bringing in people that are fans. So I think if they play it this way, and it seems the stuff that I saw, and the energy in that panel on a Thursday morning from the fans and texts, I'm crying. Guy next to me crying. Women crying. Everyone was crying because you get that feel. Like John said, it's Star Wars again. And I think that we're going back to greatness here. I really do.
All right. What's next?
With Transformers Age of Extinction crossing the $1 billion mark worldwide, it shouldn't surprise anyone that Paramount is looking to keep the train rolling. According to reports, A Beautiful Mind and Cinderella Man screenwriter Akiva Goldsman is going to head up a creative development team to map out more Transformers films and spin-offs. His team will include the likes of Michael Bay, Steven Spielberg, and Lorenzo Di Bonaventura. According to the CEO of Hasbro, the first new film is being targeted for 2017, and it appears Michael Bay will indeed come back to direct after he finishes his Benghazi film 13 Hours. Christian, what do you make of all this Transformers movement?
When I got the notes before, somehow my brain made me block out that Michael Bay is returning to direct. I read all of it, like, this could be all right, because if you have Goldsman writing and planning it out, at this point with Bay, Shakespeare could write it and it's still going to be stupid, because Michael Bay doesn't understand. He doesn't get. He just keeps making the same mistakes, even after all the criticisms and everything that people have, the big problems. He just keeps doing the same thing. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about the fans. He doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about me. He cares about cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. And yes, a lot of other directors and studio directors do, but they do listen to other fans. And they do listen to, hey, this guy might not be the right guy because he doesn't understand the property. You talked about it on Mailbag not too long ago. If another director stepped in and had a chance to reboot it, he would be immortalized.
Yeah.
Why don't you give someone that chance? Let Michael Bay sit back on the side and do the producing. I don't mind a shared universe, but to know that he's going to do it again, he doesn't understand Transformers. He just doesn't get it. And I'm a huge Transformers fan. Back in '87, that version of that movie, that was the best Transformers movie we've ever had because there was character development. The Transformers were the stars of the movies, not Shia LaBeouf's, not God knows who else running around, and Mark Wahlberg not even knowing what he's doing in the movie at that point. He has no focus, and this is a terrible thing that he's directing. Get him out of there, and I'll be more happy about it.
We should point out though, it's not official that he's directing.
Right.
Like, so we
If he is.
Yeah. Just the reports that come out saying that Bay is waiting for his Benghazi film to finish before he gets rolling on that. That seems to suggest that he's directing. But let's point out, I haven't heard Paramount say he's directing. I haven't heard Bay say he's directing. That's just but let's go with that though. Let's go with that for the moment. We often talk about here on the number one way that the audiences communicate and talk to the studios, and the number one way that the studios hear from the audience is with their dollars. And what did they hear the audiences saying? We want more Michael Bay Transformers. Mm-hmm. Because the last Transformers, as a giant pile of crap that it is, it made $1.1 billion, more than any of the previous ones. I talk a lot about trajectory. That's what the studios look for, trajectory in a franchise. Is the trajectory doing this? Or is the trajectory doing this? And with Transformers, inexplicably, it's doing this. So even though I was one of the only guys on the planet that defended the choice of Michael Bay to be the first director of Transformers. And I like the first Transformers movie very much, but I've hated all the rest. That being said, if I'm the studio head, I have to seriously consider bringing Michael Bay back because the people are buying tickets to see his Transformers movies. It's inexplicable. It makes me lose a little bit of faith in humanity and all the type of stuff that you were explaining, but it makes sense. And, not everything is for everybody. Everybody knows my problems with the last 3 Transformers films are all well documented. But, that the film is subjective. There are a lot of people out there who really did like the last Transformers movie, and those are the people who are going to go back. So, getting onto the topic about a wider universe, I think they might be getting a little bit ahead of themselves. Yes, the last Transformers made $1.1 billion, but can this shaky franchise sustain a universe per se? I'm not convinced that it can, especially if they are bringing Michael Bay back to direct, because I think that's a big mistake. Bring somebody else on, let them knock it out of the park, become immortalized, get Transformers back on the right track. But anyway, that's my sense of it. Schnepp, what do you think?
Well, I think what you said is transforming poo into gold. Yeah. That's what Michael Bay is good at with Transformers. He's able to take even the criticism and he's like, I don't need your criticism. I'm going to do exactly the opposite of what you said in 3 and then in 4. And he does it. And the numbers prove that, not that we're wrong, but they prove that he's right, that he's making money. And that's unfortunately the bigger part of our business is it's entertainment and it's a business. And if that movie made over $1 billion, then it's okay for us to hate that movie. And I hated that film. I thought Transformers 4 was a giant waste of time. But if people out there saw it and they enjoyed it and they liked it, and they obviously a lot of people liked it and they went and saw it again, it's a disappointment to say, oh, we're not going to get a different kind of Transformers. But if I was in charge of that studio, I'd be like, get that guy back. I don't care what he's doing. I don't care how much it costs. Get him back, put him in the director's seat, make another Transformers 5, and make Dinobots and make a bunch of other spin-offs of all the different Transformers to build that world out, because what they have is a giant money-making franchise, whether we like it or not. So I don't like the idea of Michael Bay doing another Transformers 5 because I would like to like the Transformers. So I don't get that chance, I don't think, for the next 5 or 10 years. Probably it looks like that's what's going to happen.
But I'm going to tell you I need both of you guys, and I'll include Ashley in on this too. Despite the fact that number 2 was terrible, number 3 was terrible, I bought into the trailers and the marketing for Transformers.
Same here.
I thought it was going to be awesome. So if Transformers 5 starts coming along and the trailers come out and you hear me starting to buy into it, I need you on camera to just smack me right in the face.
I will pour
dive over the table if you have to.
Purple Kool-Aid. I'll give you here you go. You're drinking it, dude. Yeah, I'd be like, you'll have to smash it away.
The only thing that the shared universe does, if they because you don't think he'd be able to direct all of them.
No.
So you might then get a chance to get more directors to see what they would do and go, look, that's what someone else can do with the property. Let them do it.
What are you talking about? He's Save the Day Bay. He can direct 5 films a year if he wants to.
That last movie was a commercial. That's why it made the money that it did. Also because he's smart. I'm not gonna take that away from him. He's very smart in how he shot everything overseas. He made sure that that portion of the movie was longer because of it. He obviously the Bud Light was right in your face.
Oh yeah.
He does these things where it's going to bring in more money.
And don't forget, Akiva Goldsman, writer of Batman and Robin, is now writing this script. So we're going to have a lot of that flavor.
All right, folks, we reached that part of the show for buy or sell. Here's how this works. In front of her, Ashley's got a few other items in the world of movie news. She's going to run them down. And those of us at the table are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Ashley, what do we got?
Warner Brothers has just announced that they are pushing their upcoming Peter Pan film, Pan, off of its summer release of July 24th, just over 3 months from now, back to October 9th. The July date already had several other major films opening, including Adam Sandler's Pixels, Paper Towns, the Jake Gyllenhaal boxing drama Southpaw, and the horror film The Vatican Tapes. Pan will now open against the Halle Berry thriller Kidnap and Danny Boyle's Steve Jobs biopic instead. Jeanette, buy or sell WB moving Pan back to October?
I totally buy it. I think it's a crowded marketplace right now this summer. It's a lot of things. And it's not like the way they pushed Jupiter Ascending, where they pushed it into the negative zone of like January, February release, where they're like, it's kind of always been perceived as the dumping ground of movies. This is October, which is a good release date. And I think they just want to have a little less crowded marketplace for the film. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I'm going to buy this too. I think they move to a much better date for them. I think they've positioned this film better for success by putting it to where they are now. Not that the Jobs biopic isn't going to be great, but these are going to be two totally different demographics.
It's super counter programming.
Yeah, super counter programming. But also, here's the other thing that I think some people are going to miss out of this, is that by moving this thing to October, and I do believe the studio believes in this film, this gives them the opportunity, and watch, I bet they're going to do this. I think they're going to premiere this film now at the Toronto International Film Festival. And I bet that's part of their reasoning of this, that they can open this there, get a lot of buzz from that, and then launch just a few weeks later into their release. So overall, I don't see how this is a bad move. And it's only a couple of months. It's not like they upped and moved it a year. So it's like, red flags, right? So I think this is a good move.
Yeah, I buy it. I think it's a good move also. But I also think that, because like Schnepp said, it's not January. If it's January, you go, oh, this thing's going to be a catastrophe. But what it also makes me realize is maybe just not a summer movie feel. When they're looking at it, going, this thing might not play as a summer movie film, because when you put movies in October, it might be a little slower, it might be a slower burn, it might focus more on story and characters, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the fact that it might not be this big blockbuster epic movie that would fit into that time period. So by putting it there, I think it's a good move. So it's October, and the competition is going up against, because people will think it's got that summer blockbuster feel when you hear it's Pan, so going up against Jobs and the Halle Berry movie, one would think that is probably the lead contender to win that weekend now.
They're also looking to maybe get that Into the Woods flavor, because it's got, that's when Into the Woods was released, I think,
like
in late
November,
October.
December, but right that area.
All right, what's next?
There are already 2 major movie projects on the way about the famous 1973 tennis match between Bobby Riggs and Billie Jean King. One that will star Will Ferrell, and the other that will feature Paul Giamatti as Riggs and Elizabeth Banks as King. Now you can add a third project to that list. According to Deadline, Fox Searchlight is developing their own take on the story with Battle of the Sexes, which will star Steve Carell as Bobby Riggs and Emma Stone as Billie Jean King. The film will be directed by the Little Miss Sunshine duo of Jonathan Dayton and Valerie Ferris, and will be based on a screenplay by Slumdog Millionaire writer Simon Beaufoy. Riggs was an aging tennis pro whose match against a significantly younger King became a broadcast sensation, with a lot more going on behind the scenes than most viewers of that day were aware. John, buy or sell the sounds of Battle of the Sexes?
Well, I mean, on the one hand, look, we talk about, there's one storming the White House movie. Oh, look, another one's coming out. But at least they're different stories. This is 3 films based on the same event coming out. They all have their pros and cons going into it, but I am going to buy this nonetheless. I think this sounds great. You've got a good writing team on here. You've got a good director on here. You've got a terrific, stellar, Oscar caliber cast with Emma and Steve Carell, obviously. I think, look, and the last time I saw these two on screen together was in Crazy Stupid Love, and I freaking love that movie. I think that movie's awesome. I think the Battle of the Sexes is a topic that is relevant no matter what decade we're in. And I don't think enough people know what that tennis match was. It was such an event, because if you think we have some gender equality issues today. Try 1973. And when they broadcast this thing, a guy against a girl playing tennis, who's better, it just generated so much stuff. I remember reading about it when I was a kid in school and just how important of an event that was. You get a cast like this, writers like this involved. I think this could be something really special. And I think they're going to get into theater first. They seem to be further ahead in their development than anything else, even though we're just hearing about it now. For me, it's a buy.
It's a huge buy for me. And you talk about Fox Searchlight doing it, who just worked with Carell on
Foxcatcher.
Thank you, Foxcatcher. So I'm really looking forward to this movie, and I like this cast because with Carell again, he's in the next evolution. He's evolving as an actor, and so this role for him, I want to see what he does to it, because you hear Will Ferrell's doing it,
right?
And you go, well, that seems like it's going to be a straight up comedy, or maybe like kind of a farce on the whole thing. And then you hear Paul Giamatti, who's the serious actor, but Carell kind of brings the blend of both of those.
Yeah, he does.
Worlds.
He can do it anything.
Yeah, and then you have the fact that he is working with Emma Stone, and you have this back and forth with them. And like you said, I love that movie, Crazy Stupid Love. And this team, the Little Miss Sunshine he's worked with before, and the Slumdog writer, this could be an Oscar type movie. And depending on how they really play up and how important it was, as John said before, this is going to be one of my most anticipated, just from hearing about this movie.
Schnepp?
I can't wait to see all three movies at the same time as some crazy trilogy, and then air my fourth movie. It's just called Billie Jean, and it's like using that Michael Jackson song. Riggs is a creature from another dimension that shows up and is eating the earth, and then only by uniting all tennis players together and like hitting him with, anyway, forget that. I think it's a great idea, and I think Steve Carell is going to nail Riggs. If you go on YouTube, just type in Bobby Riggs, you'll see what a jerk that guy was. He was a real piece of work. And I think Carell is the one who can actually, you're right, like grab that kind of, like, women are actually they should just be in the home cooking. Like he literally was saying stuff like that. And she was a great tennis player. I mean, it was really it was fun to see them like fight each other on, I think they were on Merv Griffin and all those old like talk shows. So, I mean, just look it up on YouTube and there's a lot of fun to be had. Like I said, I buy all three films, but I think this is the best pairing.
All right, what's next?
A brand new trailer for the upcoming George Clooney film Tomorrowland has hit the web. Along with the trailer comes an announcement from Disney that a special 6-minute feature on the new movie will play in front of Avengers Age of Ultron and IMAX screens starting on May 1st. Christian, buy or sell this new trailer for Tomorrowland?
Another huge buy. This movie was on my list for anticipated. I think it was like number 4 or 5. And I've actually been on board with all the trailers, but this one really gives you a feel of what this movie is. I didn't know it actually gave me a bit of a Flash Gordon feel too.
Yeah,
like
totally.
When they're all in that it's like this is a full scene of the movie, and when it stops, I'm like, no, just show the rest of the movie. And they're kind of holed up, and then the thing just takes off, and he zooms into this other world. What I like about how it's original. I mean, granted, it's based off of something at Disneyland, but we haven't. This is to watch Brad Bird, and I saw at D23 about 2 years ago. Brad Bird and had come out and give this whole presentation about this movie and how they went into the archives at Disney and just kind of came up with this idea. And you see this, and what Clooney's doing is kind of recluse behind, but there's more than meets the eye with him. And then this girl, she's really great too. So this back and forth that they're having. I loved the trailer. I loved the scene, we should call it. I loved this scene because it really was the technology and that creepy droid who's just like, you're holding a fugitive. And he goes, this creepy smile on the back. Yeah. So I'm liking the world so far.
I absolutely love this trailer. I felt like I was 8 years old watching. It was so much fun. I mean, Brad Bird is a great director, and the visuals in this film, Tomorrowland, a lot of it's designed by the master Sid Mead, the guy who did Blade Runner. He's done a lot of concept designs, and his futurism is such a beautiful, clean futurism. It's not dystopian, it's utopian, and that's what's great to see in this film is a utopian future. Which I love Mad Max. I love like everything is destroyed, and you must be, you're in dirt the entire time, like searching to eat a small piece of, But this is sort of like, hey, everything worked out. Look, we're in flying cars. Isn't that awesome? We got to start thinking about that. And I think Tomorrowland, just as a movie, is going to be an exciting, incredible film. Just hearing about a 6-minute featurette is now making me more excited to go the opening night to see Avengers, to see that. So I fully buy it.
For a guy who really hasn't done a lot, the resume of Brad Bird, you're talking about Iron Giant, talking about The Incredibles, talking about the last Mission Impossible film, which he nailed that action. I'm going to tell you right now, I've liked the Tomorrowland trailers up till now, but none of them have made, the thing I liked most about them was the quick cut effect they used when she would touch the pen.
Sure.
That I found very staggering in a really, really, really good way. But other than that, it's like, okay, this trailer, just shut up. I mean, it's a big buy. It has to be a big buy. Bird is showing that he is actually very quietly becoming maybe one of the best pure action directors in the business right now, who also happens to know how to tell a story. Right. Have coffee with Michael Bay. This trailer is great. I am suddenly now, I've gone from kind of looking forward to this movie to now I am excited about this movie. So yeah, for me, it is a big buy. All right, folks, now we're going to get into mailbag here in just a second. But before we do, as you know, Avengers Age of Ultron is opening in AMC theaters here everywhere starting on May 1st. Actually, later today, our review, non-spoiler review of that film goes up on our YouTube channel. Keep your eyes open for that. But I also recently had a chance to sit down with the cast of the Avengers Age of Ultron, including Chris Hemsworth and Chris Evans. I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to show you a clip of this, but I need to set this up. I spent about 15 to 20 minutes with these guys. And before the cameras even started rolling, we were just howling. Over the stupidest thing. Everything one of the guys would say, or I would say, for whatever reason, would just cork off this huge thing of laughter. So then it's fine. And I do my interview. I did all the interviews for Disney first, for Marvel, because they wanted to put some generic things together. So I did those ones first. Then we took a break, and then I was doing our AMC interview. And I came in there and look, guys, I'm going to hold it together. I'm going to totally hold this together. Let's just do a good interview, right? Well, anyway. Here are the results. Check out this clip of my conversation with Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth. One of the things the Marvel films have done is they found a way to ramp up not just the action part of it, but the intensity as well, especially with Winter Soldier. I mean, the intensity level in that was great.
Meaning not so much with Thor?
No, not that's so much. What he said. I can read between those lines,
especially
bro.
Especially Winter Soldier.
I got it. Continue. Just right this way.
What do you guys do? What's the challenge for you guys as performers, though, to like reflect that and to bring that intensity level and that feel of the action up a notch for the audiences? How do you guys do that?
I mean, well, this is going to sound strange, but... And that's great. You can't ever say
I'm with you. I'm right here with you. Go. Do not be afraid. Go.
I have like 20 horrible jokes in my head that I'm not going to say. It's going to sound strange. But I mean, you really do go to every single scene, every movie. You, as an actor, do the same thing. I mean, you play every action scene with the same level of intensity. You play everything with we're going to 100%. We're turning it up to 11 every time. And it's just a matter of what the filmmakers do with that, to be completely honest. I mean, it's films are such a giant collaboration, and as an actor, you play one small role. And in these roles, I have to be honest that we're always going as far and as much as we can possibly do. And it's just a matter of what happens on the backside of these movies in terms of what ends up on the screen.
You know, if you guys talk about the evolution of your characters as well, because Chris, one of the things I've noticed a lot about Thor that's so great is you bring these slightly different nuances to Thor, whether he's on Asgard or on Earth or whatever. You bring new aspects to him, and with Captain America, it's like as we've seen him evolve.
Yes, that was perfect. Let me just say that we've heard a lot of Captain America love today. Okay, so I'm glad to get some.
And then, we see Captain America evolving into his leadership role, but we also see you evolving like more and more as we see you more on screen, owning the role, right? Do we?
More of a digression. Is that a word?
Oh man!
But if that was yes, and it was,
if that was a real question.
Why are you both so great? There we go. Let's just sum it up like that.
We can't help it.
Special effects.
CGI, magic.
CGI.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
no, sorry, we didn't answer. What?
No,
we cut you off there.
More and more. Thor gets more and more nuance as we go on.
Right.
We see you owning the role more. Like how do you guys do that?
Can't stop.
Anytime there's a compliment toward you, I'm going to disagree.
Absolutely no.
Go answer a question. Oh man!
You know that's the writers. It's the directors. We just, it's true. Oh my God.
We're just
They're just ruining your career. We have no career left.
It's over.
After
This is it. Enjoy this right now. This is our last junket before our career just torpedoes.
Remember, Age of Ultron opens in AMC theaters everywhere on May 1st. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com right now to get your tickets and find out where and when it is playing. And also check out our YouTube channel for my discussions with all the cast of the film. They're all there and they were all a lot of fun. All right, folks, we've reached that part of the show now for mailbag. Listen, if you've got a topic or a question you'd like us to address on the show, you can email us anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. Maybe you'll see your question answered on AMC Movie Talk. Maybe you'll see it on mailbag on the weekends. But for now, let's check out, see what's in there. Ashley, what do we got?
Ryan writes, hey, AMC, love the show. This past week, trailers for Ant-Man, Star Wars The Force Awakens, Batman vs. Superman, Fantastic Four, and the Jurassic World have been released. Is there any particular reason why all these trailers are being released in 1 week's time? And does it hurt or help the marketing for all the films? Love to hear your thoughts. Stay nerdy and proud.
And add Tomorrowland to that growing thing. Yeah, I know this has been a crazy week for trailers, not only because it's trailers for big films, they have all been great. Different levels of great, but all of them great. I actually kind of think maybe the Ant-Man one might be the weakest, and it's great. That's how good these trailers have been. And I think they have been steam piling on top of each other. I think when you get, especially when you lead off with like Star Wars, which was, in my opinion, the best of the bunch. Then what happens is these other trailers drop, and instead of being swallowed by Star Wars, what's actually happening is it's buoying up everything else. They're all floating to the top. It's building the excitement for, wow, now there's 2 great trailers. Wait a minute, now there's 3 great trailers. Now there's 4. And they've just been steamrolling this big ball of enthusiasm. And so I don't think they've been hurting each other at all. Now, maybe, let's say Star Wars was the 3rd one to come out, and it's the best one of the bunch. Maybe then it kind of swallows up what came before it. And maybe that's why we're sitting here thinking about the Ant-Man trailer the least. But all the other ones came after the Star Wars one, and it just created this momentum, and now we're all talking about them and buzzing. Personally, that's what I think happened. Christian, how do you see? What do you think happened there?
Well, as far as the purpose goes, it was apparently to blow up the internet. That's what but, you know, we also forget that both Fantastic Four and Batman v Superman were leaked. Up top.
Right.
So I don't know when the Batman v Superman was supposed to come out. And I haven't been able to talk about it on the show though too. I guess you guys all loved it, and trust me, I've got a ton of comments about my opinion on it. I thought it was fine, and I wonder. I heard Mark say it yesterday when a lot of people watched it, they still had that hangover from Star Wars, and I think that is absolutely the case with me. I was right in the middle of Celebration when it came out, and I don't think that was their intention to drop it at the same time, but it certainly didn't hurt their numbers because everybody was still looking at the Force Awakens trailer, and then while they're on their computer, guess what else is out?
Right.
Ooh, look at that.
A shaky cam version.
And then
you're watching
the
20
next day,
times.
when they're watching Batman v Superman again, and then they're watching Star Wars for the 100th time, then Fantastic Four. Ooh, you know, so it's like, it makes sense for numbers. It just, do you get lost in the shuffle? Not really, because we're talking about it right now. What else came out? Oh, this came out, and this came out.
Jurassic World then
drops. I think Jurassic World dropped at the right time, right at the start of the week, because it's not going to contend with Batman v Superman and Star Wars and even Fantastic Four because of the superhero craze and because of Star Wars craze. But Tomorrowland drops at the right time. I think it's smart when studios put together these amount of trailers because it's trailer craze and trailers work so much better now on the internet days. So I like the idea, and I hope it happens more, and I think it will because we're getting into big slates here with all the Marvel slates and all the DC slates and the Star Wars slates and all that stuff and bigger movies. So I like this. I hope this continues.
Love trailers, and I love when a bunch of them all happen at the same time and great trailers all drop. What a fantastic week. I mean, it was sort of like, is this really happening? Of course, guys, my trailer dropped too. The Death of Superman Lives. What happened? Check that out on YouTube. But it wasn't even planned. I was like, I'm going to be releasing it next week because my film comes out. And then literally inundated with, and then just Tomorrowland, Jurassic World, Star Wars The Force Awakens, Batman v Superman. I was like, what's going on? And it's so much fun to watch these trailers back to back because you get these little flavors. It's like, oh, have a taste of a Snickers bar. Oh, what's this? A Dorito? Caramel corn? Freak out and then do it again. Watch it again. So much fun. It's fun to talk about the anticipation of a trailer, of a movie from a trailer, because that's sometimes unfortunately the best part. Sometimes you see Transformers 4 and you're like, oh my God, these Dinobots and this and that. So you have an idea of what the film's going to be by just watching these images cut together. And we all come up with our own ideas of what the film's going to be. And then we see the film and hopefully it plays out to all of us and all our own different ideas together. So when you have something like, The Force Awakens, all of us are like, oh my God, it's bringing so many elements that we all have wanted for years together. And hopefully all those ingredients are right. But at least right now, the trailer, everything is perfect. I think the same thing with Batman v Superman. I know a lot of people might not like the grim aspect of DC, but I think it's great. And it's the perfect opposite of Marvel. So we get both flavors of the superhero worlds. We get, grim and gritty, and we get like Marvel, like fun, cosmic, goofy, and also just adventure. So I don't know. It's been a great week for trailers. I even forgot what we were talking about. Just trailers.
I should bring up with the Batman vs Superman thing. I've been getting a couple people emailing me because on a mailbag or a movie talk, I can't remember what it was, a number of weeks ago, I said people are asking, you guys need to do a live reaction video to the Batman vs Superman trailer whenever it drops. I said, okay, we'll try to do that. But here's the problem: it dropped when some of us were in Vegas, some of us were in LA, some of us were in Anaheim, and it's like, okay. So nobody watched that trailer that's out and online right now until we can all get together in 2 days and we'll film ourselves watching it. We just couldn't do it. It wasn't practical. So for all the people who've been emailing me saying, why didn't you give us the reaction trailer you promised? Which, first of all, I never promised. I said we try, but it wasn't practical. We weren't able to do it, which, when next time a big trailer drops, when we're all here in the studio, we will do a live reaction video, but we can't do it until then. All right, what's next?
Peter Pellegrino writes, hey gang, do you think it's possible that Kevin Feige is saying that there is no end credit scene at the end of AOU just so people will automatically buy another ticket to see it? I think it's a pretty smart business tactic if this is true. Let me know what you guys think and keep up the awesome work.
No, and it would be an awful business tactic. One of the Marvel right now is building for the long game, not the short game. If all there was Avengers Age of Ultron and no other movies coming later that you needed to maintain and build and foster the trust of your audience, then yeah, maybe you pull a little, slick move like that to sell a few extra tickets. But Marvel is in this for the long haul. They're thinking about 19 more films in advance. They need to harbor trust. They need to build up the faith of their audience. They don't do crap. They wouldn't do crap like that. And let's be honest, the amount of people who would actually buy an extra ticket just to go back because they missed the end credit scene, finite, totally a finite number. Now, I think a lot of this question is coming from, there's this video floating around on the web right now of it's supposed supposedly it's the end credit scene of Avengers Age of Ultron, because you see the credits end and then the camera comes back up and it's a window washer and he's cleaning. You see the Avengers Tower behind him, and as he swipes off the next thing on the window, you see Spider-Man on a trailer going, hey, you missed a spot. And it's got a lot of people thinking, oh, that's the real end credits. Well, it's fake. It's very fake. If nothing else, you can tell like some of the graphics and the logos and the icons on the trailer that is rolling behind them are actually out of date. So this is not that it ever was. Kevin Feige wasn't lying, I don't believe, unless they really pull a fast one on us. But as far as I know, no, there is no end credits. There is a clip. There is a tag that comes just after the credits begin. But there's no extra scene coming at the end of the credits, so don't bother waiting around. Have you guys heard anything different?
No, and I think that the tag alone, I mean, if they wanted to show something else, say for the press screening, they just showed that tag. I don't see why they would just take out that little end piece, plus make sure that both Feige and Whedon were saying, no, we're telling you there's nothing there. That's so much more that if there really was one, it's like, God, that's kind of lame that you were doing. You should have just shut up and just done it, because if there is one that pops up at the very end, especially if this Spider-Man one, that's a mislead that was more deceiving than it is clever.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be one. They've gone out of their way to say don't stay after. There's a little tag, which you just mentioned, and that's there. We've seen it. It's fun. There's nothing after that. Unless you want to appreciate all the hard workers who've worked and watch their names scroll by and listen to the music and just sit there and like kind of talk with your friends about the movie you just saw, which is what you usually do when you stay and watch the credits of a movie. You're like looking for specific people or who played that role, or you're talking with your friends in the theater. That's what you should do after Avengers, because they're telling you there's no extra ending. You're going to have a bunch of sweaties making weird endings. We should make an ending and promote it. But it's like we're splitting Batman v Superman. Remember that one?
Oh, yes.
The Age of the Batman or whatever it was called. Some weird extras. Like, so there's going to be a million of those showing up in the next couple of weeks. So
and that's the thing too, that trust me, even though there is no end credit scene, the tag that they call it now, which is still a post-credit scene in many ways, is so good. And so the light comes back up, the camera comes back up, and you see, I'm not going to tell you what you see. All right, folks, not only do we like taking your questions via email, we love hearing from you via Twitter as well. So if you've got a tweet you'd like to see on the show, tweet out a question to us and just make sure you include the hashtag AMC Movie Talk. Just tweet out a question or comment and put in that tweet the hashtag AMC Movie Talk. That way we can see it. So Ashley, what's in the Twitter sphere?
Joseph Meldrum writes, I hear about teasers being good or bad lately. Since the movies aren't finished, are filmmakers limited in what they can tease?
Got to remember, too, there's a misconception out there that directors are the ones who put their trailers together. 90% of the time, it's not the directors who put the trailers together. The directors are still working on their movie. And the marketing department and there's a lot of companies out there, too, that studios hire to come in and just put together trailers from existing footage. Does it limit what they can do? Absolutely it does. If you don't have a finished movie, then you can't literally put together the best possible trailer you can. But once you get in, those trailers drop 2 months before a movie comes out. Generally speaking, usually movies are pretty much in the can at that point. So you can, but yeah, those early ones, absolutely they're limited because they don't have all the material that they can to put into it. But maybe that's a good thing, Christian.
Well, look, there's 2 teasers that we could bring up here. And the first is like Rogue One, right? This little teaser that they showed that really wasn't even released to the public. They didn't even shot yet. They just put together a little concept thing just to let you know what the movie was about. It was them going, here is all those rumors you heard. That's what this is going to be. And it still gave you that kind of fun feel and the bit of darkness that movie seems like it's going to be. The other one is Guardians of the Galaxy. They showed at Comic-Con, it was 2 years ago, they were at 2 weeks in.
They'd only been shooting for 2.5 weeks.
But they put together this teaser.
That was great.
That wound up being like almost a full trailer that the first teaser they ever put out, which was incredible that they were able to do that so fast. But the question on the table is, are they limited in the teasers? Absolutely, because they only have so much that they could put in there. So, and there's also a hierarchy. When you get someone like Kevin Feige, right, who I guess during the Ant-Man thing said, guys, I just okayed this trailer right before I got in here, and it's Kevin Feige, so he's going to be the one that's okaying it. The director sometimes, depending on where he is, how high up on the chain he is, Spielberg obviously going to be able to say, no, put that into that. Smaller director, even Gareth Edwards is going to have to go through Kathleen Kennedy if Kathleen Kennedy likes it, and all those other guys. So it just really depends on the situation.
Sure.
Right. Yeah, or you're working on a micro budget, you make it yourself like me. So, but usually a marketing firm from the company is going to hand off the trailers, and the directors and the producers are the ones who have the say in like, hey, use this image, use that, put it together, and they usually get a great editing team and marketing team, and they figure out which it also depends on how many special effects are done. Like for Guardians, a lot of that was shot practically, so they were able to just like cut it together because it all exists. Whatever they shot is there. And then they just add a couple of things here and there. And then, when you see the final trailer, you have a teaser, but then the final trailer has these finished shots and stuff. And you see the progression all the time with Jurassic World. Everyone noticed that, hey, that shark looks different and the background's different. And this, when the little shark gets eaten, every time you've seen it, it's changed a little bit. If you watch those trailers from one to the next, they changed the background. They built out more audience. So you're like, oh my God, not only is none of that real, but they've changed all of it. So they're upgrading and updating. So we have to get something out. We need a teaser. That's what you end up seeing when you finally see the final film on a larger budget film. Most of those things are completely different, and for the better. So that's how teasers are a tough thing to do, but we look forward to them. So that's why the marketing team is really important with the bigger the budget. So,
all right, what's next?
David Rosario writes, WB gave fans who attended the IMAX event last night free passes to see B versus S early. Will this help or hurt the box office?
It won't affect it one way or the other at all. Remember, it only played, I think it was 70 theaters. It might have been 75, but let's say, for argument's sake, say 70 theaters. Average theater size, say 300 seats. Let's say 400 seats, just to be generous. So you're talking about, and if it all sold out, you're talking about 2,800? No, 2,800, 28,000. 28,000 people. 28,000 people. Average movie ticket price in the US is right around $10. So that would be $280,000 worth of box. If all those people who are now going to get to go see Batman vs. Superman 1 week early for free, and none of them go back to see it again with a paid ticket, that's only a difference of $280,000 for their boxes. So really, and considering the type of box office numbers that Warner Brothers is looking at, It's going to have no effect on it whatsoever. So, yeah, they're not worried about it at all. If anything else, the marketing value of saying those people came to this, they get to come to an early screening and get those people all buzzing about it. The marketing value alone that they're getting out of that is going to triple whatever ticket money they're going to lose from those 28,000 people. I know. How do you see it?
No, I totally agree with you. And John got to see it. So what extra scenes did you see, John? Tell us. You can tell us.
I can't tell you, it wasn't top secret. Look, we went to Dennis and I and our friend Roth from IGN. We went over to AMC Burbank 16. We watched the special IMAX presentation. All it is the trailer that's already online with 4 extra seconds at the end. But the 4 extra seconds, I've been saying, have been worth it to me, because what it is it's the exact trailer you see and the lights go down, but then it comes back up and it's a close-up of Carell looking pissed. And then it's a close-up of Batman looking pissed. And then it's a wide shot from the side and you see both of them flying in at each other. And just like in that Rocky and Apollo Creed thing, they're flying, ah! And then it cuts. It's awesome. Yeah. It's so freaking awesome. I'm almost wetting myself. I'm so excited for this. Anyway, Christian, getting back to you. Do you think like a marketing move like this can potentially hurt their box office numbers?
No, I think it'd probably help it, to be honest with you, because I think that, like you guys said, this is Batman v Superman. And even though I said that I didn't love it as much as you guys, the trailer, it's one of my most anticipated movies in the next 2 years, for sure. I can't wait to see these two guys square off. And I wish that scene would have been in that trailer. I probably would have liked it better. But those people that go and see it early are going to go back, because if they're that excited to go to the trailer to see it and then get those extra tickets, they're going to see it more than once because they got to see it for free. Now they're going to tell their friends, let's go back. It's so crazy. It's so good. And even if it's not that great, they'll do this Phantom Menace thing in the beginning because they got to see it free. They got to see it. They're going to want to go back and pay for it. I think it's a really smart move to do that. And it's nice that they do that. It's a nice reward to the fans to come out who supported them, to come out to see the trailer, to build up the excitement for their film, to give that reward. I think it's a really noble thing, honestly, that they did that for the fans. I love it.
All right, what's next?
AJ writes, since they are both fighting Thanos in upcoming installments, will the Avengers have to team up with the Guardians?
Believe it or not, the word I am hearing is that you're never going to see the Guardians of the Galaxy with the Avengers. That's the word I'm hearing. Whether that is actually true or not, we'll have to wait and see. Time will only tell. But I remember the people I have spoken to, I was surprised to hear that there are no plans at all that Guardians of the Galaxy is really going to pretty much be its own thing and stand on its own. You're going to get anecdotal crossovers, like you see Thanos in there and stuff like that. So they're clearly in the same universe, but from what I understand, their plans are not to cross them over very much. Have you heard anything different?
James Gunn pretty much said exactly what you just said, that it's not going to happen. I think it's garbage. I think
it's a big misdirect.
It is garbage. I think that you're going to wind up seeing them probably in the second Infinity War movie. I think that that's where it's all going to come to a head, because when we went to that Marvel event, myself, you, and Ellis got to go to, and they showed that like teaser, the Guardians were in there. Well, everybody that was coming in, I know that's like, hey, Guardians is also part of our universe here, but the way that trailer was cut together was like, this is all coming to a head against Thanos. So you're going to build him up in the second Guardians with them as well, you assume, because they have this beef with them, and then the Avengers are going to have this beef with them. So yeah, I think it'd be a missed opportunity if you don't.
Yeah. I absolutely firmly believe that Thanos and Guardians of the Galaxy and Avengers will all be in the Infinity War, period. There's absolutely no way that the Guardians of the Galaxy and the Avengers will not cross over and be fighting Thanos. I guarantee it, because Thanos is part of the Guardians universe. They're intermixed. It's one giant cinematic universe, and that's where Thanos comes from. His daughter is part of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Give me a break. So it's a total misdirect. I don't know why they're even saying that. I mean, it's like, look, so what? You're going to get a cool Guardians of the Galaxy #2. I don't care if the Avengers are in that. They shouldn't be. But when you have the Infinity War and the Infinity Gauntlet, and you have Thanos, and you have the cosmic world meeting our Earth, that's when the Guardians are going to show up. And don't forget, Star-Lord is an Earthling. So it's going to cross over. That's just what's going to happen. Anybody who's going to say it's not is wrong. That's what I'm going to say.
I'm just saying that's what the filmmakers are telling us.
There's no way. Said that too. No, it's okay that James is going to say that, but there's no way.
I'm saying for him, as far as it's been said for sure. But I agree with you.
It can't
Shep.
be.
It doesn't make any
just
sense.
can't be.
It's a missed opportunity for sure.
All right, folks. Well, that'll do it for us for this installment of AMC Movie Talk. Thank you so much for joining us. Listen, don't forget, lots of great films playing in AMC theaters right now. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com for all of your theater, showtime, and of course, your movie ticket information. If you'd like an audio-only version of this episode, look in the description of this video below, and you'll find a link to our podcast feed. And don't forget, most importantly, subscribe to this YouTube channel to keep up to date on all the cool things going on here at AMC Movie News. I want to first of all thank the people sitting at the table with me. Sitting right here, Mr. John Schnepp. Schnepp, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter, just at John Schnepp and at TDOSLWH. Also go to TDOSLWH.com, watch our new trailer. The film starts playing in select theaters for the next 3 months, and then you're going to be able to see it everywhere July 9th. At Comic-Con is where we're releasing it all. And I think Ellis, you lost, Ashley.
We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
Sitting across right here, Mr. Christian Harloff. Christian, where can people find you?
Twitter and Instagram at Christian Harloff. And if you've never watched Jedi Council, this Thursday is the time to do it because we're going to do a full recap of Celebration, all the news, everything cool that we had celebrated there. And make sure you hashtag AMC Jedi Council and get your questions on the air.
And of course, trying to stick it to Mark. I said on the show yesterday that Mark Ellis probably rocks the Sons of AMC shirt better than anybody. And now she said, I accept that challenge. And she modded her own shirt. Miss Ashley Mova. Ashley, where can people find you online? And yes,
You
Ashley
guys,
wins.
Yes, can send in your votes to me on Twitter and Instagram at Ashley Mova. This is our new women's line, guys. I decided we're going to have a women's line.
Yes.
And actually, you know what? Let's take a vote. Do me a favor, guys. In the comments section of this video, just drop a hashtag. Hashtag vote Mark or hashtag vote Ashley. And let us
Hashtag
know-
Team Mova.
and tell us who you think rocks the Sons of AMC shirt better. And then you guys can follow me online. Follow me on Twitter or on Facebook. Just at John Campia. And don't forget, guys, follow us, AMC Movie News, on Instagram. We put a lot of fun stuff up there. We have a really good time interacting with you guys on our Instagram account. Once again, we're AMC Movie Talk there. No, sorry, AMC Movie News on Instagram. That'll do it for us. Thanks a lot for joining us, guys. My name is John Campia for AMC Movie News. And until next time, bye-bye.